Hello. Welcome to the Learn with Sandra show channel. My name is Alexandra and I remain your one and only academic guide. So if this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure you'll find this video very helpful. And if you are a returning subscriber, it's so good to have you join us again. Thank you so much. So in today's video, we are going to be tackling the JAMB CBT past question for the subject Literature in English year 2023, and we're going to be solving question 1 to 24. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so before we proceed, I would like to address something. Okay, so Literature in English past questions are divided into two. We have the theoretical aspect, which are questions related to the concept of literature, and we have the practical aspect, which are questions related to the recommended text. Now, I have observed some questions that are gotten from text, but these texts are not part of the recommended list. Okay, and I have seen students raise concern about having to tackle questions, that are not part of the recommended text, blah blah blah. Now, I'm here to tell you that you need not worry about all of that, okay, because these questions are still under the concept of literature, judging by the nature of the questions. Okay, so the most important thing in questions like that are the excerpts, okay, the fragments that have been gotten from those texts. I have seen JAMB go as far as writing the title of the text and the author, and that might kind of destabilize you, and you're like, oh, I've not seen this text before, it's not part of the recommended text. Do not worry about all of that. Concentrate on the excerpt, because the excerpt or the fragment is enough, more than enough, to tackle that question. So I would like to encourage you to keep an open mind and see how I tackle questions like that, so that you can better position yourself to tackle questions like that when you come across them. Okay, so do not forget, I am here for you. If you have any question, concern, let me know in the comment section below. So let's get right into question 1. Question 1. A limerick has dash. The answer to this question is option C. A limerick has humor, rhyme scheme, and 5 lines. Okay, so a limerick is a form of poetry, okay, note that has humor. That means it evokes laughter and it has redeeming qualities. So the most important thing again about a limerick is the fact that it follows a strict rhyme scheme of A. Okay, that is one thing you should note. Now let's take a look at a famous poet, Edward Lear's limerick. Now, if you take a look at this example, you see that it follows the AABBA rhyme scheme. Now, how do we derive this? Okay, now rhyme scheme, we use the letters of the English alphabet to represent it, and you have to concentrate on the last word of each line and specifically look at the last sound of each of the words that end the lines. Okay, so for line 1 we have D, line 2 we have D, line 3 we have N, line 4 we have N, line 5 we have D. So A starting the letters of the English alphabet, line 1 takes A, and because it is the same thing with line 2, it also takes A. And line 3 is different, so it takes the second letter of the English alphabet, which is B. And because line 4 is also the same thing with line 3, it takes B also. Then the last line, which is D, takes letter A, okay, because it follows line 1 and B. It's the same thing, so it takes A. So that's how we derive our rhyme scheme. Okay, so the answer to this question is no doubt option C. Question 2. The process of creating characters and endowing them with certain attitude is dash. The answer to this question is characterization. So characterization is the process of developing your character. So what are the behavioral traits that your characters are? Okay, are they portrayed as people that are good, virtuous, kind, or are they the wicked and evil person? Okay, so those behavioral traits you assign to your characters is called characterization. It's a process and it's called characterization. When we speak of characters are the people within your story itself, okay, the people that inhabit your story, okay, and that's not the answer to this question. When we think of dramatis personnel, it's a list of character that includes a brief introduction of them and the relationship within the story. For example, have you picked up any text and you see, oh, Shalewa, and you see a small dash, and you see, oh, the princess of so kingdom, the first daughter of that, a brief introduction of what she does within that story, a relationship within that story. That is dramatis personnel. The answer to this question is option C, characterization. Question 3. So bats, creatures that hang themselves up like an old rag to sleep and disgustingly upside down. The theme of the excerpt is dash. When we speak of theme, we talk about the central idea, the central topic, or the underlying message, okay, of a writing, right? So the answer to this question is option D, the poet's appalling remark about the bed. Take a look at the excerpt. We see bats, creatures that hang themselves upside down like an old rag. So old rag is an unpleasant word, and disgustingly upside down is also another unpleasant word. So these are indicators of the poet's negative attitude towards the creature, okay? So this shows that the poet does not find this creature pleasing at all. So option D, appalling, means unpleasant, repulsive. So option D is the final answer to this question. Question 4. The writing convention in which the events in a narrative are scrabbled as they come to the writer's mind without any attempt to arrange them in orderly sequence is called dash. The answer to this question is stream of consciousness. Now, stream of consciousness is a narrative technique that aims to depict the flow of thought of a character. So when you pick up a text that uses this technique, okay, what you can read is you read about the feelings as it's passing through the character's mind. And it is very challenging to stay on track when you're reading text like this because it does not use or follow the conventional narrative technique. So you find yourself lost and you have to reread and read to understand what is happening because it's just the flow of the character's thoughts. Okay, so when we speak of psycho-consciousness style, now this is also a narrative technique where the author, goes into the psychological state and processes of his character, of the characters in his text, right? So when we speak of narrator's mind style, now this is also another narrative technique in which the events are told through the lens of a narrator. Now an example of this is The Life Changer. Okay, so we understood the story, we see the events as they progress through the lens of Umi, who is the narrator. And we see that Umi is also a character, as evident in the text with the first person pronoun, right? We are waiting for daddy. We is the plural form, right, of first person. We are waiting for daddy. So we understood the story through Umi. So when we speak of C, shifting style is the point of view shifts from one character to another. So if you've picked up any text and maybe in chapter 1 you're understanding the story through Akin, right? And then in chapter 2 another character picks it up and you're understanding the story through another character related to Akin. So that is shifting. The point of view is shifting between characters, okay? But the answer to this question is definitely option D, stream of consciousness. Question 5. Using the name of one thing for something else with which it is closely associated in an instance is dash. The answer to this question is metonymy. Now, metonymy is the use of a word or a phrase to represent something that is closely associated with it. For example, if I say Aso Rock has just released a statement, Aso Rock is used to represent the president because Aso Rock is the presidential villa, right? So it is used to represent the president because it is closely associated with the presidential seat, right? So that is metonymy. When we speak of parallelism, parallelism is the use of similar grammatical structure in a successive sentence. For example, you are beautiful, you are hardworking, you are God-fearing, you are. Similar grammatical structure in a successive sentence, okay? So when we speak of parody, parody is basically a humorous work of art. When we speak of paradox, paradox is a self-contradictory statement, but on a closer look at it, it reveals a deeper truth or a deeper meaning. For example, if I say, I know that I know nothing, you know that you know nothing. So how do you know that you know nothing when you know nothing? Okay, so it is self-contradictory. But on a closer look at it, what I'm trying to say is, compared to others, I don't know anything. Okay, so the answer to this question is definitely option D, metonymy. Question 6. Which of these is the oldest genre of literature? The answer to this question is definitely option B, poetry. Now, poetry is considered to be the oldest genre of literature, and it dates back to thousands of years of ancient civilizations such as in Greece and Egypt. Okay, do not forget that poetry is recited orally and sung, and it served a variety of purpose in ancient civilizations such as storytelling, religious worship, even for record keeping. Okay, so poetry is the answer to this question. Question 7. The tragic character is the person whose experiences arouse pity and dash. Okay, so the tragic character is usually the protagonist and is one who experiences downfall due to tragic flaw or what we call mistake. Now, in context, we usually feel sorry for his misfortune, his or her misfortune, but there's really nothing we can do about it, and so it arouses pity and fear. So, fear is the word, and a word synonymous to fear among the options provided is option B, terror. So, terror is an overwhelming feeling of fear. So, the answer to this question is definitely option B. Question 8. So this is another question that is gotten from a text that's not part of the recommended text. Okay, so like I said, you don't need to know the text itself. The excerpt is enough to solve this question. And as you can see in the question, the tone of this poem is generally dash. All you need to know is the tone of the excerpt. Okay, and it's basically under the concept of literature. Okay? So you don't need to know the whole text. Okay, so all you need to do is keep an open mind and understand the underlying message of the fragment itself. So, as virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper to their souls to go, while some of their sad friends do say, the breath goes now, and some say no. Starting with option A. So, when we speak of conversational tone, it is a casual and informal tone between two persons, okay, like more like a chat between the writer and the reader in this case, but that is not the case here. So when we speak of imaginative tone, that is a tone characterized by creativity, which is not the case also here. When we speak of serious, yes, the tone is predominantly serious. Now let's go line by line. As virtuous men pass mildly away, the underlying message here is death or mortality. That is, virtuous man will die too, and whisper to their soul to go. Now, the underlying message here is separation. The body separates from the soul. Okay, while some of their sad friends do say, the breath goes now, and some say no. The underlying message here is, the enduring love of true friends. Okay, the enduring nature of love itself. Okay, so it is pretty much serious. This is a serious message. Okay, so in answer to this question, the best answer is option C, serious. 9. So cast in a play refers to dash. The answer to this question is option D, all the actors. So all the actors that have been chosen to portray the characters in a particular production is cast. Okay, so option D is the final answer to this question. Question 10. A panegyric poem is composed to dash. A panegyric poem is composed to praise. Okay, so option D is the final answer to this question. A panegyric is a poetry, is a form of poetry that praises or celebrates a person. So option D is the final answer to this question. Okay, question 11. So there's a short passage. I would advise you read it very well, read it carefully and understand it. Okay, so the question is, the passage above reveals that Gibonol symbolizes dash. The answer to this question is option C, lawlessness, and from the passage we see that he is one who has beaten a police officer. He has 10 cases filed against him, 10 cases filed against him. He has no regard for moral conduct. He's no lover of peace, love, and order. So the answer to this question is lawlessness, because it all depicts one who is um, lawless. Okay, so the answer to this question is option C, lawlessness. Question 12. The part of a play when climax approaches is known as dash. The answer to this question is epithesis. Epithesis is that part of a drama where complication arises leading to the climax. Okay, so judging by the nature of this question is based on the classical structure of drama. And what do I mean by this? It means the structure of drama way back, and it started with Aristotle. Aristotle started this framework, and he used three terminologies: the beginning, the middle, and the end. Later on, a scholar named Donatus, developed this idea and replaced the terminology with protosis, epistasis, and catastrophe, respectively. Okay, so later on, there were later developments to this structure, and it was expanded to 5. So we had 5 classical dramatic structure, which include prologue. Prologue is the introduction to the play, okay, where we see the characters, we're introduced to the setting. Next is the protosis, which is the second part of drama, and that is where the conflict arises. That is where the conflict is introduced. Okay, so next is the epithesis. Epithesis is the third part. that is where complication arises. Okay, the action is fully developed in this third part, and it leads to the climax. Okay, the fourth part is the catastasis. Catastasis is the climax. Okay, it is the highest point of tension in a play. Okay, it's also called the climax, and the last is the catastrophe. That is where the conflict is resolved. Okay, it's also called resolution, right? Okay, so later on we add Freytag. Freytag also developed the idea and kind of simplified the terminology using exposition, um, rising action, climax, falling action, and denouement. Okay, denouement rather, denouement. Okay, and that is what we use presently. Okay, that's what we use right now. That is what you and I are conversing with. Is a contemporary dramatic structure. So what I'm talking about, this question is based on classical dramatic structure. Okay, so the answer to this question is no doubt option D, episthasis. Okay, when we speak of catharsis, option B, catharsis is basically the emotional responses, the emotional release experienced by an audience when they watch a tragedy in a drama. So it's basically the response of the audience emotionally, okay, to a tragedy in a play. Okay, so the answer to this question is no doubt option D, episthasis. Question 13. So in the lines above, Tom is warm because he dashed. So this question is basically to test your ability to determine the message. Okay. So Tom awoke and we rose in the dark and got with our bags and our brushes to work. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. Okay, so the answer to this question is option C, is doing his duty. And this is because we see that Tom's happiness and warmth, despite the unfavorable weather condition, is as a result of his positive attitude towards his work and responsibility. So this is someone that enjoys or finds fulfillment in what he does. So option C is the final answer to this question. Question 14. The term given to a type of incident or device which recurs frequently in literature is dash. The answer to this question is motif. Motif is a recurring element in a story, okay? Such as an incident, a recurring incident. And motif has a symbolic significance because it contributes to the development of characters or themes in a story. So the answer to this question is option D, motif. Question 15. So an extended fictional narrative which is realistic is known as a dash. The answer to this question is novel. But let's start with option A, a short story. So a short story is a brief work of fiction, usually exploring a single character, a single incident. Okay. So when we speak of diary, a diary is a personal record of daily experiences. When we speak of novella, novella is a short novel or a long short story. Now, what do I mean by this? Considering the length of a novella, okay, it is in between a short story and a novel. So it is longer than a short story, but shorter than a novel. Okay, so when we speak of a novel is an extended fictional narrative, okay, that explores various characters and the plot is usually in depth. Okay, so the answer to this question is no doubt option D, novel. Question 16. A government driver on his retirement is a poem of 33 lines divided into dash stanzas. The answer to this question is 6, option A. So this poem is part of the recommended text and it is written by Chibuke Onu. It's a 33-line poem made up of 6 stanzas of irregular length, okay, and that's what makes it confusing to determine, the number of stanzas it has. The lengths or the lines in each of the stanzas are different. The number of lines in stanza 1, for example, is different from the number of lines in stanza 2. So it's difficult to determine how many stanzas it has, okay? But note that it has 6 stanzas, okay? So option A is the final answer to this question. Question 17. This question is based on the journey of the Magi. Now, this question is based on one of the recommended texts written by Eliot. So the dominant device in this excerpt is dash. The answer to this question is paradox. And when we speak of paradox, paradox is the use of contradictory statements, but a closer look at it, it reveals a deeper truth, a deeper meaning. Okay. So when you take a look at the excerpt, and running away, wanting their liquor and women signifies comfort or some level of escapism. Okay, and you see that this contradicts the sacred nature of the journey of the Magi. Okay, so we see that the other line and the night fires going out and lack of shelter, and the city hostile and the town unfriendly reveals discomfort, hardship, difficulty. Okay, so you can see the contradictory situation in the excerpt, and it reveals that spiritual awakening comes with some level of hardship, of difficulty. Okay, success generally comes with difficulty and hardship, and that is the deeper truth, the deeper meaning in this excerpt. Okay, so the answer to this question is paradox. When we speak of simile, simile is an indirect comparison with the use of like and as, which is not evident in this excerpt. When we speak of synecdoche, synecdoche is the use of a part to represent a whole. When you take a look at this excerpt, the words are direct and literal. So there's nothing that suggests a part representing a whole in this excerpt. When we look at metaphor, metaphor is a direct comparison with the use of is dash. So it's a direct comparison and it's not evident in this excerpt also. So the best answer to this question is option D, paradox. When you take a look at this excerpt in the context of the poem which is recommended, the best answer is option D, paradox. Question 18. The sides of a stage are called dash. The answer to this question is option C, the wings. So the wings is a terminology used in theater, and it is that area on either side of the stage. It is usually concealed from the audience with the use of a curtain. Okay, so it's that side where actors stay before entering the stage. Okay, so the answer to this question is option C, the wings. Question 19. So being English, being African, being Nigerian, the lines above are an example of dash. The answer to this question is anaphora. Anaphora option B is the final answer to this question because anaphora is the repetition of similar words or phrase in successive lines. Okay, you can see being is a phrase that is repeated in line 1, line 2, and line 3. Also, I feel there's a need to make a clarification between parallelism and anaphora. So parallelism is the repetition of similar grammatical structure in successive lines. And I give example of you are hardworking, you are handsome, you are beautiful. So it's similar grammatical structure with you are dash, subject, verb, complement, subject, verb, complement, subject, verb, complement. So that's the repetition of grammatical structure. So this is different from anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of similar words and phrase in successive lines. Being, similar phrase. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B, anaphora. Question 20. So the reaction in the passage above is that of dash. When he gave me the bottle and I opened it, I was shocked by the odor that hit my nose. I immediately corked it again and spat on the floor. So the reaction is nausea. Option D is the final answer to this question. We see that the strong odor from the bottle, caused a reaction of shock and disgust, leading to him, corking the bottle and spitting on the floor. So nausea is a feeling of discomfort in the stomach that can lead to vomiting. Okay, so the answer to this question is option D, nausea. Question 21. A formal, dignified speech or writing praising a person or a thing for past or present deeds is dash. The answer to this question is eulogy. Okay, eulogy is a piece of writing that praises a person or a thing. When we speak of lampoon, lampoon is a form of satire. It's ridiculous and mocking in nature. Okay, premiere is the first public performance of a movie, of a play, or other works. Anthology is a collection of literary work. It could be a poem, collection of poems, collection of short stories. So the answer to this question is eulogy. Question 22. So a character that is always against the interest of the protagonist is dash. The answer to this question is villain. A villain is a character that opposes the protagonist. When we speak of opposition, opposition is a general term. It's not specifically used for a character. Okay, so when we speak of heroine, heroine is a female protagonist. When we speak of hero, hero is the main character, the main protagonist. Okay, so the answer to this question is option C, villain. Question 23. So the figure of speech dominant in these lines is dash. The answer to this question is personification. When we speak of personification, it is the use of human qualities for inanimate objects or abstract ideas or concepts. Now let's take a look at the excerpt. Rage is chief, rage drags rags after you, of charity, laughter, sweetness, and light. Rage is thief, enemy of equanimity. Okay, so we see that rage in this excerpt is giving human qualities. Okay, it is a chief. Chief is a title given to human beings. Okay, and we see that it drags after you, you know, disrupting you, of charity, of laughter, of sweetness and light. It's an enemy of composure, of, calmness. Okay, so in the context of a predominant figure of speech, in the context of a dominant figure of speech, you have to use imagery. Okay, and when you picture this, you see rage, functioning as a human being doing things. Okay, so the best answer to this question is option B. Now, no doubt there are metaphorical elements within the excerpts, but the predominant figure of speech used is personification. So option B is the final answer to this question. Question 24. The tone of the passage above is dash. Okay, so the answer to this question is derisive. When we speak of a derisive tone, it is mocking, a mocking tone. Okay, by nature, it is meant to, ridicule a person or a thing. So in this case, it's a person. Okay, because the applicant here is subject to ridicule. Okay, from the excerpt, you see that not a few of us ended our application letter like this. That is, many of us ended our application like this. And when we read the application letter, we see it's filled up with grammatical errors and awkward phrasing. Okay, yet without English, you add no education, fit for a white collar job. So this tells us that the actual intention of the applicant, which is to showcase professionalism, to showcase humility and capability, is forfeited because the actual performance cannot, get in the job, okay, that he desires. Okay, let's take a look at some of the grammatical errors, starting with my utmost best to render you instead of my utmost best to render you, at my disposition instead of at my disposal, to your best satisfactory instead of to your satisfaction. We have awkward phrases like yours obediently servant. So these are wrong grammatical expressions. These are awkward phrasing used by the applicant. When we speak of melancholy, melancholy is a sorrowful tone. Okay, and that's not the case here. When we speak of ironic tone would imply, or irony implies, saying one thing but meaning the opposite. And we can find elements of irony in this excerpt with the contrast between the applicant's intention and their actual performance, but still it is predominantly ridiculous. Okay, so when we speak of ash tone, there are elements of critique in this excerpt, but it does not, show the severity typically associated with a harsh tone. The harsh tone will be insulting in nature, direct and upfront, but it's not the case here. It is completely ridiculous. It is mocking the applicant. Okay, so the answer to this question is option D, DVC. Okay guys, so we've come to the end of this segment and I am so happy you've learned a lot because you've been exposed to different concepts in literature. So let's make this engaging. Drop your comment, drop your suggestions, drop your explanation, and I'll be sure to look at every one of them. So thank you for staying tuned. Do not forget to give me a like, click on the subscribe button, and also tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as I release the next video. Thank you for staying tuned till I see you again. Bye.